The letter was waiting for me the day I returned home from Afghanistan. My boots still carried desert dust, and my heart ached for the sight of my wife and son after 9 long months overseas. But instead of pulling into my driveway, I found strangers unloading boxes onto my porch. At first, I thought I was in the wrong place. But no, it was my home. My wife's flower beds, my son's basketball hoop, my old Ford still in the driveway. Only the people weren't mine. "Can I help you?" I asked, my voice calm but edged with steel. The man holding a box squinted at me. Yeah, we just rented this place. HOA said it was available. We signed the lease yesterday." My heart sank. The HOA. The very same HOA that fined me while I was deployed because my lawn wasn't trimmed, even though my wife was juggling work, bills, and raising our boy alone. The same HOA that threatened to foreclose on my property because the paint on my shutters was 2 shades too light. Now they had crossed the line. They had rented out my home, while I was deployed serving my country. When I knocked on the door, a woman answered with keys dangling from her hand. "Sorry, but we live here now," she said bluntly. The HOA said the previous owner defaulted. "I am the owner," I said firmly, my voice low. "And I've never defaulted on anything." That night, my wife, my son, and I slept at a motel. She cried herself to sleep, clutching my hand, whispering, "They stole our home, John. They just took it." I stared at the ceiling, rage burning hotter than any firefight I'd ever faced overseas. The HOA thought they could intimidate us. They thought my deployment meant weakness. But they forgot one thing. I wasn't just a soldier. I was a platoon leader in the U.S. Army. And when someone threatens my family, I don't fight alone. The next morning, I called my brothers in arms, men who had followed me into battle, men who trusted me with their lives. They didn't hesitate. "Say the word, Captain," my sergeant said. "We'll bring the whole platoon." By sundown, 5 trucks rolled into the neighborhood, tires crunching over pavement, engines growling like war drums. My neighbors peeked through blinds, whispering as a dozen hardened veterans stepped out in formation, eyes cold, jaws set. This wasn't a battle, we weren't carrying rifles or breaking laws. But we were soldiers, and we knew how to take back what was ours. The renters were still there, confused and frightened as they watched us approach. I raised a hand, signaling calm. "This isn't on you," I told them. "You were lied to. You're victims too. But this house belongs to me and my family." One of the men muttered, "The HOA said it was theirs to rent." That's when the HOA president herself strutted onto my lawn, clipboard in hand, smug as a queen on her throne. "This is private HOA business," she snapped. "You people need to leave before I call security." I stepped forward until I was inches from her, my platoon silently flanking me. "Lady, I am the security. And this," I pointed to my wife standing behind me, holding our son's hand, "is our home." The HOA president tried to stand tall, but her voice cracked. You can't just take it back by force." I smiled grimly. "Ma'am, you have no idea what force really looks like. Be grateful we're not here for war. We're here for justice." My sergeant moved past me, handed the renters a packet of legal documents my wife had dug out of our safe. Deed, mortgage receipts, proof of ownership. "This house was never yours to rent," he told them. "You've been scammed." The renters looked at each other, realization dawning. One woman tossed the keys onto the lawn, shaking her head in disgust. "We're not part of this mess," she muttered before walking away. The HOA president sputtered, threatening lawsuits, fines, retaliation. But when my platoon surrounded her, silent and immovable, she faltered. For the first time, she looked small, powerless. We spent the rest of the night moving the renters' boxes off our porch, carrying them neatly to the sidewalk. My men worked like they always had, efficient, disciplined, no complaints. My wife cried as she opened our front door again, stepping inside as if into a sanctuary. "Home," she whispered. "We're home." Of course, the legal battle wasn't over. The HOA tried every trick in the book: fake liens, fraudulent notices, intimidation. But they had underestimated us. Veterans don't back down. We fought them in court, and with the evidence of their fraud, the judge not only returned our home officially but dissolved the HOA entirely. Neighbors who had lived in fear under their rule came to thank me. We wanted to fight back for years, one elderly man said, tears in his eyes. But we didn't have the courage. You gave it to us. Weeks later, my platoon gathered for a barbecue in my backyard. My son ran through the grass, laughing, while my wife flipped burgers on the grill. My men sat in a circle, swapping stories, their laughter carrying into the night. As I looked around, I felt a peace I hadn't known in years. My family was safe. My home was ours again. And my brothers were right here beside me, just like they'd been halfway across the world. I raised my glass. To home, I said. To family. And to never letting anyone take what we fought to protect. The men roared in agreement, and for a moment, the war was behind us. What remained was loyalty, love, and a reminder that true strength isn't about weapons or rank. It's about standing together. The message. Home isn't just a building, it's family, sacrifice, and love. And when those things are threatened, it takes courage to fight back. Sometimes that courage comes from one person. Sometimes it comes from a whole platoon. But either way, justice always wins in the end.